Welcome to GG Field on the campus of the University of Ottawa for the 2017 Godzilla Championships. It's the Monday-Wednesday co-eds. Monday's Gatineau Sevens champion, Wednesday's the Bearsharks. Wow, this is going to be a good one, but it's cold. About 8 degrees right now. At field level here at GG's Field. Dan Mooney alongside Corey Boucher. And Corey, if you had to think about a favorite in this one, you'd have to go with the Gatineau Sevens because they have 43,000 people on their roster, and the Bearsharks with just 12.
There's quite a difference on paper, these two teams. The Bearsharks like to pride themselves on bringing sort of 9 players to come out and play a 7-player game. And it really helps increase their fitness level. So when they get to something like today, they only have 2 or 3 subs. It's a little bit easier because they've been doing it all season, but we'll have to see here how they do.
And the opening pull. We are underway. The Bearsharks in white, the Gatineau Sevens in red.
So we see from Alex there a drop pull, just a little bit of nerves coming into the game, a little bit of lack of focus, and now the Gatineau Sevens have a chance to put a really early stamp on this game with Andrew Barber.
Stojic dropped it. Here's Barber at the goal line, looking for a cutter. Forced to go back for Marshall Desjardins. Back for Barber. Barber for Chiasson. Valerie Chiasson into the end zone for the point. Khalid Al-Zerani, a member of the Ottawa Outlaws of the AUDL, playing here as part of the Monday champions, and he gets the Gatineau Sevens on the board first.
So we see that big grin on his face after he scored. Just a great play by Khalid to kind of wait and see the offense. Everybody sort of shifts to that home side of the field, and then he just cuts the break side for the easy score. There you can see the grin from ear to ear as he walks off the field for the first point of Godzilla 2017.
Valerie Chiasson with the assist. Khalid Al-Zerani opens the scoring on an error, and those are the things that you really have to minimize, those errors, especially off the opening pull, to give them 1 yard to have to traverse to get a score.
Exactly, and it's really tough as the offensive team to come out and have that happen right away, as we see here. This is the score. So they started with such good field position, and then they were just able to work it across for that goal. And it's all set up because of that drop pull at the start, which was really a determining factor in that point.
4 members of the Gatineau Sevens played in the Tuesday-Thursday final. Philippe Lefebvre, Yannick Boulet, Daphne Ellison, and Sonia LaBelle. And Ryan Katz-Rosen also played in the Tuesday-Thursday final, but for the other team in that one. Laura Knowles moves that up. Nice toss by Rachel Young into the end zone. Easy grab there for Adam Elliott. And the Bearsharks get back into this one quickly.
Then we see Adam Elliott showing off a little bit of athleticism and just showing off a little bit there on that one. It's a great throw from Rachel. She's got all the time. She makes a great throw, and he just sort of walks onto it. A little bit of hesitation there just to showboat a little bit, but he ends up with the point. Especially Adam, he had an unfortunate accident really early in the season. He cut his hand, his non-throwing hand, really badly, and it's good to see that he was able to rehab that really quickly, get back out there and be competitive so fast after that accident.
How did he cut his hand?
I believe it was with a very sharp knife.
Sounds like Craig Anderson splitting a pair of chicken breasts.
Exactly. It might not have been chicken breasts, but something along those lines.
So 1 apiece here early on in this Tuesday, or the Monday-Wednesday Godzilla 2017 championship from GG Field on the campus of the University of Ottawa. On a cold evening where the wind seems to have subsided some here, Corey.
Yeah, which is nice. It happens usually. It was windy here before the sun went down, but sometimes when it goes down, the wind sort of dies off, which is nice. It leads a little bit more to a more open and more exciting game to watch because you won't see a lot of zone. You'll see a lot more of those hucks and the big plays.
Al-Zerani moves that in for Chiasson. Chiasson finds Daphne Elliott. Daphne Ellison. Another little flip. Nice grab there by Andrew Barber. Barber being marked very closely by Adam Elliott. And stoppage in play. Pick downfield, perhaps?
I believe it. There seems to be discussion on the mark just as to what the stall count was. I think it was a pick downfield, and now everybody's reset.
Observers involved in this one: Sandra Hansen, Jim Robinson, Justin Lee, and Christiane Marceau. Lefebvre moves that out for DeRosier. Marshall DeRosier. Little flip, nice play by Alzarani to keep it alive. Little flip back for Lefebvre. Lefebvre all the way to the outside for number 49, Daphne Ellison. Ellison with the hammer over the top. Finds DeRosier. DeRosier looking for a cutter in the end zone. He's about 4 yards out. Flips it through, and a drop by Alzarani.
The Gatineau Sevens are really having a hard time in that end zone. Not a whole lot of movement downfield, so it's really not leaving their handlers many options to move that disc.
Back the other way, Travis Davidson moves it all the way downfield for Laura Knowles, and she can't come up with it on the hook.
We'll be looking a lot, the Bearsharks will be looking to play a really run-and-gun offense, as we'll see Adam Elliott get the disc while he's moving a lot, and we'll see him try and take those looks.
Chiasson flips it back for Philippe Lefebvre. For Andrew Barber. Despite the best effort by Adam Elliott, Barber was still able to come up with the disc. Lefebvre can't hang on, and a turnover again by the Gatineau Sevens. So now the Gatineau Sevens go back on defense. And here come the Bearsharks. Elliott. Little flip inside for Travis Davidson. Davidson up for Alexandra Ostojic. Elliott for number 17, McCardle. McCardle for Amos Lee. Lee looking for a cutter, couldn't find one. McCardle moves it over to Elliott. Elliott into the end zone. Great defensive play by Lefebvre to break that one up. Number 72, Laura Knowles was just waiting in the end zone to catch the disc, and Lefebvre came from nowhere to break it up.
Yeah, it's a great play. It's a really great play for a lot of reasons, but he just has his eye on, as a defender, he has his eye on the person with the disc the whole time, and he just runs through. He sees like the thrower's eyes light up for that open play. As we watch here, it's Amos Lee back to McCardle, and then Adam Elliott gets the disc he has all day, and then he just kind of throws a lazy pass to Laura Knowles, and Phil Fever just comes out of nowhere and gets that D.
Phil Fever.
When you have a last name like Lefebvre in sports, I guess they're always going to try and give you that nickname.
Yeah. He's got a fever, and the only thing that can cure it is more cowbell.
You heard it here first, folks. It's a good call. It's a good timeout call there by Martial. He's a very patient player with the disc, and especially when he doesn't see a lot of movement upfield, he's not afraid to call. He's not afraid to yell at his teammates to get some movement going. And now he's going to call a play that he's set that he wants, and we'll see what the Bearsharks do and try and throw at this here. Looks like a very poachy defense, which is their trademark because they try and get those poached Ds a lot.
8 minutes in, the scoreboard clock here at GG Field not ticking down. Stopped at 105. It was a 105 or a 100-minute hard cap, and there's a turnover by Alzarani, and the Bearsharks looking to cash in on a mistake by the Gatineau Sevens. Here's Elliott. Elliott back for Amos Lee into the end zone, and the grab is made. Number 73, Alexandra Ostojic, scores to give the Bearsharks a 2-1 advantage.
So we see here on the replay, This is the turnover here. So Khalid gets the disc. He's in a really tough spot, and McArdle's played against him long enough to know he wants to make him make this throw. He doesn't have quite that throw with the win, and then the Bearsharks do a great job. This is exactly what they want to do. They want to hit him quick on defense. They want to get that turn. They want to get that disc, and within 3 passes, put it in the end zone. And here Adam, just all the patience, just waits, and then the Bearsharks just wait to play it to the open cutter, Alex Ostajic.
Alexandra Ostojic gets her first goal. And looking at the Bearsharks' record, 8-4 over the course of a regular season with an average of 9 players per game. You have to be pretty satisfied with that record.
Yeah, and they ran into some really good competition. The Wednesday night league is really deep, especially with GDD. GDD's been around forever. They have a lot of really top level and really highly experienced players. They do really well, and they actually ended up winning the division. But the Bearsharks ended up on top in playoffs, especially over Ravens 2.0, who was also at the Godzilla games last year.
Big pull that goes beyond the dead end line, so it will come out to the brick. And Gatineau Sevens will have great field position to start this next possession, trailing by a goal.
And the bricks, for those following at home, is when the pull goes out of bounds. They get, in this case, it would be 25 yards, and it's easily marked with the football field, and then they get to start from there.
Nice grab. And the huck downfield looking for it, number 9, Julie Boisvert. She's got it. Drops that off. At the goal line, little flip through and a grab by Yannick Boulay from Simon Jonf, and it's tied at 2.
It's a great play there, and it's just a lot of patience on the part of Gatineau Sevens as we see the replay here. It's a nice huck, and it's to Julie Boisvert. She's a really dominant cutter, as well as she's really, really dominant in the air. And we'll see the Bearsharks really struggle to keep up with her, and then we see just an easy cut for an easy throw for an easy score.
Yannick Boulay played a significant role for Le Club de Mousclet in the Monday-Wednesday final, or the Tuesday-Thursday final, excuse me. And there you see him wearing number 25 for the Gatineau Sevens, and Boulay certainly one of the go-to guys for this Gatineau side here in the Monday-Wednesday final.
They're a really exciting team to watch, the Gatineau Sevens, because they have a really great mix of quick cutters who can also then turn around and jack the disc downfield. It's really important that you have those guys throwing deep in motion, because it really sets off the defense and their ability to be able to actually defend properly.
Bearsharks in white. Starting out, Travis Davidson moves that up. Nice grab by Alexandra Ostojic. She flips it back for Brian Perry. Perry to the outside. Rachel Young dumps it off. McArdle looking deep. That one gets caught up in the air. Now they have to really make a grab for it, but it turned away, and nobody able to make a play there. Travis Davidson there, Brian Perry there for the Bearsharks, but they couldn't come up with it. But a foul called, and it's coming back.
So there's a foul called by McArdle on Khalid here. As he stepped around, he felt that Khalid interfered with his throw with that tap of the hands and that signal of 0 for Khalid. It means he doesn't contest. He definitely got a piece of McArdle as he went to throw that throw.
Khalid Al-Zarani. Little flip through. McArdle gets that out for Rachel Young. Young being marked closely. Trying to find an outlet. She does. Here's Simon Partridge. Partridge. Little flip over the top for Davidson. Davidson to the goal line. Here's Rachel Young. Actually 5-6 yards out. Now Young needs some support. Ostojic now. The short field into the end zone. And it's a goal. Travis Davidson makes it 3-2 Bearsharks.
Just a great play here, and so much patience on the part of the Bearsharks. Like, just nice dumps. They always seem to have a reset available, and then in this case, Travis just sort of runs around his defender. He's such an athletic player that these are plays that he makes on the regular. As we see, he's actually staying out for the next point because they only have 3 subs. So a lot of these players on the Bearsharks are just so athletic, and Travis especially is so fast that he's able to just run around his player and go and get that disc.
Great patience by Alexandra Ostojic as well, getting to the end of her stall count, finally finding Davidson open in the end zone.
Yeah, and a lot of that patience as a handler really just comes from this team having so much faith in each other. They know that if they kind of lock eyes with that one cutter or they get in a bad situation, they can kind of look at one player and that player will go and get open for them and give them an outlet. And that's one thing that they have from playing together for so long, is that sort of trust and faith in each other to be able to go and get open at will.
Handling the pull here, Adam Elliott for the Bearsharks. And Elliott.
So that's an offside call there on the Bearsharks. On defense, it's unfortunate, but it does happen. We saw some of those in the Tuesday versus Thursday final as well. No penalties for yards, luckily, but we'll have to see. They'll have to be careful. They don't have that many players to be doing this a whole lot.
Elliott will get it going once again. Much better pull by Elliott this time. Into the end zone and stopped up. Back come the Gatineau Sevens, Karine Pinau. Gets the disc back. Pinau inside for number 37, Simon Jonf. Jonf moves that in. Here's Boulet. Yannick Boulet. Nice little toss back inside as they move the disc effectively. Frederic Cote for Pinard. There's a little flip. Cote had to reach back behind him to grab the disc. Back for Boulet. Boulet looking into the end zone. In and out of the hands of Simon Jonf.
That's pretty surprising. He was pretty open there. He looked like he had a really clear angle at the disc, and unfortunately it results in the turnover. We'll have to see. Here's the replay here. And he'll see him. He's got yards on his man. McCardle even gives up on the play, and he just can't seem to clasp his hands in that goal.
Still 3-2 Bearsharks. Samantha Lee. Davidson flips that out. McCardle downfield into the hands of Rachel Young. Rachel Young into the end zone, and Samantha Lee scores.
That's a great play, as we'll see here in just 1 second, from the Bearsharks. They really punish that break side and make it really easy to play offense. So we see Adam flips it up here. Travis gets the disc. He fakes. He immediately hits the break, and then McCardle just throws. And then now the entire defense for the Gatineau Sevens is out of position, and it's just such an easy score from Rachel to throw that throw. She has all the space and all the time in the world. Sam Lee, one of the OQA heads, is actually the one who picks up that goal, and it's a great goal from her.
Sam Lee, the wife of Mike Lee, a member of the Ottawa Outlaws, who a year ago scored 60 goals in the AUDL to lead his team in offense, and this year unable to play because of a blown-out knee.
And it was truly unfortunate, especially because Mike is such a great guy. He's such a nice player to play with and against. And he put up the highest total in the AUDL for goals. And for the Outlaws to lose that sort of offensive output really hindered their season, as they had a bit more of a mediocre season this year than last.
Their first 2 seasons, 7-7, their regular season record, unable to get a playoff spot. And this year, a little bit worse than that, 3-11.
And it's unfortunate, but we did see a change in leadership, and there was a bit of a few of the players retired, so a lot more of the experience has left the team. But they do have some really promising young players in Kinley G and Tyler Sadler. They're really bringing up that the youth end of the team and putting the team on their shoulders a little bit more as they get used to it.
And what about your little brother?
Nick Boucher has been around as well. He's been with the Outlaws since they started, but this year he took a much bigger role as a captain, and he's really done well in terms of being able to run and manage the team.
Khalid Al-Zerani, a member of the Ottawa Outlaws, scores the easy goal on a major huck. And we're 1 goal away. The Gatineau 7 trailing 4-3.
And you see Barber just steps out here and throws a great backhand huck to Al-Zerani. I had the pleasure of watching Khalid play in his first AUDL game. And I mean, he's smiling enough here at Godzilla, but his smile was even bigger that day, let me tell you.
There's Khalid Al-Zerani. Absolutely uncontested goal. All he had to do was basically run under it and catch it before he got to the end line.
Exactly. And we saw a little bit of that happen over in the other end zone for the Gatineau 7s. And unfortunately, they weren't able to make that catch. And they gave the Bearsharks the point. But we see them here clawing their way back, still staying in this game, keeping it competitive with an easy score there from Barber to Al-Zerani.
Saw Daphne Ellison with her hoodie wrapped around her arms just to keep her upper body warm. The temperature has dropped significantly here in the nation's capital, especially here at GG's Field. And another deep, deep play and a nice grab there by Davidson. Davidson into the end zone for Elliott, and it's a 2-goal advantage once again for the Bearsharks.
So it's a little bit of a case of monkey see, monkey do here. And the Bearsharks want to prove that they're a team that can also run and gun with the Gatineau 7s. We see a great throw from Brian Perry. He even steps away after the throw, and then Travis just runs that down. Travis Davidson is such a fast receiver. He makes it really easy on a lot of his handlers. And then Adam Elliott follows it up for the quick hop into the end zone.
Adam Elliott with his second goal. Davidson with a goal and an assist. And it's 5-3 for the Bearsharks in white. And now the question is, Corey Boucher, whether or not with only 9 players on the bench, they can sustain this pace. With only 9 players, you need tremendous fitness level.
Yeah, and the true testimony to that won't be their offense. Their offense, like, they know where they're going. They've choreographed it. They've played it so well to this point that their offense won't be the tell. It's the defense. It's whether they can keep up this strong defensive pressure against the Gatineau 7s, who have a fresh line of players out there every point.
"20 players on the Gatineau 7's roster."
We see here the Gatineau 7 stalling out a little bit on offense, having a look at Bale a lot, and that's a great break from Martial for the goal, actually. She was able to milk that one for a couple extra yards and put it into the end zone for an easy score.
Valerie Chiasson gets the goal from Martial DeRosier, and it's now 5-4.
We see this is really the play here. McCardle is so far behind on defense that break is really easy for Martial, and he's able to even put his cutter into the end zone for an added bonus.
Number 74, Valerie Chiasson.
We see her wearing her RAF shorts tonight. That's the mixed team that's part of Ottawa and Gatineau, and she was a big part of that team, and she continues to be a big part of the Gatineau 7s this season as well as tonight.
Come off the bench and talk strategy.
Yeah, she goes right from scoring the point to deciding how to score the next one.
It's never enough, especially when you're trailing by a goal. You got to make sure everybody's on the same page, and Valerie Chiasson doing exactly that as soon as she gets to the sidelines after getting the Gatineau 7s back within a goal. Flipped out for Elliott. Elliott inside. Lauren Knowles. Knowles forced back to Brian Perry. Perry back inside. Davidson back outside Elliott. down the field for Knowles. Knowles had Rachel Young breaking. Couldn't find her. Simon Partridge. Rachel Young. Young into the end zone. Easy grab for Elliott. And it's 6-4. Bearsharks continue to trade points with the Gatineau 7 and get their 2-goal lead back.
And this is just like a clinic on offense here from the Bearsharks. People aren't clogging. People are taking their time. They're getting out. And then Adam Elliott just has a really easy bail cut that ends up being 5 yards into the end zone for a nice throw from Rachel Young. We see it's interesting because Adam Elliott actually was playing with gloves to start the game and threw them off in a little bit of frustration after he had a few throwaways. And now he seems to be playing better, but his hands seem to be quite cold as the three people on the sideline are trying to stay as warm as they can.
That disc is hard. When it gets cold and it's got anything on it, any kind of zip on it, it's really difficult to catch.
Luckily, one of the added benefits of only having 10 players is that you're on the field most of the time, so you're not sitting on the sideline getting that cold. We'll have to see if that affects the Gatineau 7s a little bit as they have more players and won't be on the field as much.
Alex McCardle with the pull. Picked up by Philippe Lefebvre. Lefebvre down the pitch, finds Martial DeRosier for Barber. For number 51, Valerie Tanguay.
We have a stoppage here, so we had a little bit of a collision upfield. It looks like she's okay. It's Laura Knowles on Val Chiazon. It looks like they've now reset. There doesn't seem to be any lingering issues, and Val looks ready to play on. Nope, we have a little bit of a false start here and a violation as the players reset, now ready for the tapping.
Cedric Labreche, number 27, looking downfield for Barber. Lays out, can't make the catch.
That's a great throw from Cedric, who's not usually a player to take shots like that, but he comes out with a great flick. And unfortunately, Barber just can't come up with it. We go to the replay here. We see Cedric's got all the time. He throws it really well in front of Barber. And it looks like he almost slows a little bit right there as he tries to be able to just kind of come up with the disc. And unfortunately, he wasn't able to make that catch.
And there's a D by Philippe Lefebvre. And Davidson calling the foul on the play and starting to shake his hand a little.
So he, because of the reaction from both players, you can pretty much guarantee that that's going to be a foul, no contest. It looks like Davidson got a couple studs in the hand, and we have Adam Elliott as the sub now. He's the one who's been driving a lot of their offense, so it might actually benefit the Bearsharks here, even though they're losing one of their more dominant cutters.
Well, Lefebvre got in the way again and broke it up.
So we'll have to see. We're going to go to replay here hopefully in a second and see if that block happened before or after he releases the disc. See, we got slow motion. Oh, it looks like that might have been a good block. It was a foul called from Adam, so he thinks that the disc was still in his hand while he got hit. It's tough to tell, and we'll see what Jim Robinson calls here. He has called a foul at kind of come in on stall one. So he has ruled in Adam's favor and the Bearsharks' favor.
So Lefebvre proving to be a thorn in the side of the Bearsharks early in this drive. Here's Amos Lee. Lee, little flip over the top in a desperation pass for Ostojic. And it results in another turnover. And here's Lefebvre for the Gatineau 7s. Just too far for Daphne Ellison, who she was in the vicinity. There was also another member of the Gatineau 7s right there. And there was almost a collision.
But as we see, Daphne looks like she's shaking it off. She's good to go. She's already downfield looking for her mark, and she's going to play some defense, and they call a timeout. This is probably a good call from the Bearsharks. They've already had one injury sub this point, and they don't have many subs, so they kind of have to keep their players fresh and operate their offense as easy as they can, Dan, because that way they'll be able to run as efficiently and as quickly as possible and keep their legs rolling.
Yeah, it's about conserving energy in a game as long as this with 95-minute hard cap. Game to 15, but could conceivably go 90 minutes. That's an hour and 35 minutes of running around. You have to be in great shape to do it. And you have to take into consideration that 4 members of the Gatineau Sevens have already played 1 game today. And they're back in this one as well. So the fitness levels on these folks are tremendous, but playing 2 and 3 games a day is not outside the realm of possibility for these folks.
No, when you get to, like, for league play and for play such as this, or even in the AUDL, for instance, they're only going to play 1 game in a day. So you do have a chance to kind of go a little bit more 100%, and then you don't have to worry about conserving your energy for the 3rd, 4th, 5th game of the day. But when you get to some of the tournaments, you do end up playing at least 3 games in a day and against some really grueling opponents. So it's tough, and it really speaks to the athleticism of teams that they're able to come out and play 2 games in a day at this caliber.
Another stoppage as Philippe Lefebvre comes up a little lame. Ostojic with the disc.
It's an uncontested foul coming back in.
Ostojic looking for some help. Great D there by a diving Martial DeRosier to break it up and give the Gatineau Sevens an opportunity to get back within 1.
And we see here on the replay, Amos Lee just running a little bit too far up the field, and not a very good leading throw. So we do end up Martial getting a good D.
And speaking of not very good leading throws, that one from Philippe Lefebvre well away from the intended target, and it's another turnover for the Bearsharks. Little flip through, scooped up.
So cases like that quick turnover, Dan, are playing more into the Bearsharks' favor with that short bench. The point here is that Gatineau Sevens really needs to work them when it comes to Gatineau having the disc and really get a long offensive possession out of it.
Brian Perry for Adam Elliott. Elliott back into the middle for McCardle. Little flip over for Perry. Perry looking deep, looking for Sam Lee in the end zone. She's got it. Samantha Lee makes it 7-4 Bearsharks.
Just a great throw from Brian Perry, and it's something that we saw a lot in his university career. He's always been a stay-at-home handler, so he's always had throws like this. A great fake, moves the mark, and then just a wide-open backhand to all the time in the world and all the space in the world for Sam Lee.
And Samantha Lee with her 2nd goal of the game, giving the Bearsharks a 3-goal lead and 1 point away from our halftime break.
We'll have to see here. It'll be interesting because with that 7-4 lead now for the Bearsharks, they're going to want to take it to the Gatineau Sevens on this possession. So they're looking to go down and play some really hard D and hopefully take a break to go into half. So we'll have to see what Gatineau has planned here on offense. They've been sputtering a little bit, and they need to kind of kick it up into another gear if they want to keep this game competitive.
And the pull coming from Adam Elliott. And all kinds of ancillary noise coming from the Queensway, which is directly beside the GG's field here on the campus of the University of Ottawa. Little flip inside for number 37, Simon Jonf. He plays it back. Ryan Katz-Rosen gets the disc back. Katz-Rosen for Jonf. Jonf back into the middle. Mathieu Carpentier moves it up for Frederic Cote. Cote playing it back for Katz-Rosen. Nice one-handed grab there by Corinne Pinard, and she goes deep, too far for Frederic Cote.
And the Gatineau Sevens just stalling a little bit there, a little bit of impatience. It was a good cut from the cutter, but it was a tough throw to make as a thrower.
Looking deep, just beyond the outstretched hands of Rachel Young. She was behind all the defenders, and she would have had to wait for all kinds of offensive support had she been able to make that grab.
Yeah, she was just so far away, and it was such a good cut. It's a shame that the thrower couldn't put the disc far enough ahead of her.
Carpentier inside, little flip. Julie Boisvert gets it back. Boisvert back for Jonf to the outside. Cote. Jonf looking into the end zone, too far for his man, and it's another turnover by the Gatineau Sevens, and that's been plaguing them so far in this first half.
Yeah, and unfortunately, just a little bit of a miscommunication there. Gatineau 7's offense doesn't seem to be clicking quite as nicely as the Bearsharks are. So we'll have to see. And Adam Elliott's going to call a timeout here, which is a good call. These guys like to use their timeouts, as of course they have such a short bench. But they tend to call them at really good times, kind of make or break moments in the point. As we see here, they're trapped on their own goal line, but they really need to get the disc down the field so that even if they do have a turnover, Gatineau 7s don't have an ability to have a quick score right back.
The reason why the clock had not moved is because it is a 105-minute hard cap, and the clock won't get to 105 minutes.
No, that's kind of the same reason they were afraid of Y2K, is because the amount of digits available were not quite big enough. But we have the clock moving now. It's at 79 minutes and 38 seconds until that last horn.
Now it's 80 minutes, and there's 35 already gone in this one.
Here, fans, we see that last turnover. He looks like he gets it back to the middle, and they look like they have a really easy score here. And Ryan's just not on the same page as the thrower, and unfortunately, he doesn't get to that space fast enough.
Ryan Katz-Rosen wide open in the end zone, just unable to get that disc too far ahead. And now the Bearsharks have an opportunity to take us to the first half break. Davidson back for Elliott. Elliott fakes the huck, throws that one into traffic, and Perry just unable to handle it. Matthew Carpentier there providing the defensive coverage into the end zone. Can she make the grab? No. She's out of bounds. A great effort there from Sonia LaBelle, but she just unable to stay in play.
And that's another just unfortunate offensive play here, because you have so much time, you're so close, you have such good field position, and you just can't keep that throw in bounds. The cutter makes a great try at it, but there's nothing that they can really do there.
Rachel Young just unable to make the play. Here's Corinne Pinal.
We're starting to see these offenses, they seem like they're getting a little bit more frustrated, which is odd because the defenses that are being put on are not crazy difficult to get around. I mean, there is a little bit, we got a pick here. It appears like it happened after the catch, so he's going to catch up to his man, but the play will result in him having caught the disc.
Simon Partridge, the mark for Frederick Cote. Disc is tapped, and Cote plays it back in. Carpentier, little break there. Brian Perry stopped it and was right there to call a foul on himself.
Yeah, you could tell from Brian's reaction. He knew it right away. He's a very spirited player, so he actually would call that foul on himself and give the disc back without any contest.
Pinard back for Carpentier. Carpentier finds the man, Simon Jonf, just outside the goal line. Jonf dumps it into the hands of Pinard, and the Gatineau 7 get back within a couple. They trail now 7-5.
So we have, again, just really, like, that's the patient offense that Gatineau really needs to bring for the rest of the game. And it's something that I find they've been sort of turning on and off throughout the game so far. As we see here, so we have Matt with the disc, and we have a great cut across, and it's all because of the Bearsharks' really poachy defense. So he's able to have such an open cut across the field as he goes, and then they have an easy continue to a cutter on the up the line. The Gatineau teams tend to favor a little bit more that up-the-line cut, or the Berkeley, just because it translates so well into indoor 4-on-4 during the winter, which a lot of them play. And especially a lot of them on this Gatineau 7s team actually do play together on the 4-on-4. So they know that their players are looking for that, and they really have those throws on a nice touch at the line.
7-5. The Bearsharks in white, leading the Gatineau 7 in red by a score of 7-5. And the Bearsharks get the disc back. Andrew Barber's pull into the hands of the Bearsharks. Here's Elliott for Davidson. Back to Elliott. Fakes the huck. Comes back to the near side. And Laura Knowles had to go up and for it and come down with it. Far side. Rachel Young. Rachel Young had Amos Lee breaking. Sends it to the open spot into the hands of McCardle. Alex McCardle with it now. Waiting for Barber, and there's been a penalty called.
There's a pick called at the field. There's the two pairings you can see right in the middle of your screen. Val Chiazon got picked as the cutter tried to go around a couple of the defenders that were already there.
Elliott for Amos Lee. Elliott marked closely by Khalid Al-Zarani. Here's Amos Lee, forced to get rid of it. Elliott for Travis Davidson. Davidson back for Amos Lee. Amos Lee to the far side for Alex McCardle. McCardle now has to wait for some support. Lee cuts, finds the open area, gets it into the end zone for Elliott. With Khalid Al-Zarani all over him, Elliott comes up with the catch, and we're at the half.
So a little bit of stagnation on that play, but McCardle has patience. He's been in that situation a lot. He hits Amos Lee, and then Amos Lee has the easy flick just to Adam Elliott for the score. It's a great try from Khalid, but I mean, Khalid has his head turned the wrong way, and he's in a bad spot to try and make that play. He still gave it his chance, but Adam Elliott walks away with an easy score.
4 goals for Adam Elliott in that opening half, and the Bearsharks lead the Gatineau 7 8-5 in the Monday-Wednesday Ultimate Godzilla Championship for 2017. Don't go anywhere, folks. Back with the second half after the break.
Gabriel Pizza, proud supporter of local sports. Gabriel Pizza, home of the bigger, better pizza. 310 7777 or GabrielPizza.com.
It's closing time, and you stayed out longer than you planned. So now you can't drive, and the buses have stopped running. You could always call your girlfriend. Or maybe your roommate? What about your best friend? You could just dial 1-888-TAXI-GUY or use the Taxi Guy app. The call and the app are free, and they both connect you to a local cab company to bring you home safely. Visit ArriveAlive.org to find out more. Arrive Alive, drive sober.
Celebrate Ottawa is a collection of stories for, by, and about the people, places, and rich history that make Ottawa such a vibrant place to call home. Tune in Sunday evenings at 7:30.
Hey everyone, it's Carla from Carla in the Kitchen. Join me every week as I give away some of my top secret recipes. These smell so delicious. We'll see you in the kitchen.
This is Rogers TV, Ottawa.
welcome back to Gigi's Field on the campus of the University of Ottawa. It's the OCUA, the Ottawa Carleton Ultimate Association Godzilla 2017 Championships. This, the Monday-Wednesday Championship, and the Bearsharks in white lead the Gatineau 7 by a score of 8-5. Dan Mooney, Corey Boucher, and an entire Rogers TV crew. Happy to have you along for the ride, and lots of highlights in that opening half, Corey.
So we're going to say a lot of easy scores here. These teams are running almost a clinic on offense, and in that case, like, it's an easy score that the player just doesn't catch. We've got a lot of really crisp, clean offense, and then a lot of really hard-fought and contested Ds, as we see there. Khalid and Adam going right for the disc. Khalid putting everything he can to try and get there before Adam.
And that Adam Elliott's fourth goal for the Bearsharks in that opening half. Of the 8 they've scored, Elliott has 4, Sam Lee has 2, and the others have been scored by Travis Davidson and Alexandra Ostojic. So most of the offense coming from 2 players.
Yeah, and it's very typical of this Bearsharks team. They have a lot of players that can kind of throw, and then a lot of players that are really athletic cutters. But Adam Elliott is one of the, when he's on his game, he's one of the really driving forces of this offense. And you'll see him give and go a lot. You'll see him be catching the disc in motion, looking to huck on almost every upfield cut. You'll see him moving, and he's kind of a deceptive. He's about 6'2", 6'3", but he really hunches, so he hides it. But when he comes out as a receiver, that's when you really notice it, and that's why he's such a dangerous threat.
Height certainly an advantage in this game.
Yeah, and it allows the Bearsharks to use so much more verticality in their throws, because they can go ahead and throw the disc up to space, and Adam will go and get it over most of his defenders, especially against a team like the Gatineau 7s, who on the male side tend to be a little bit shorter than average.
Second half underway. Gatineau 7s with the disc. Frederick Kodze. Karin Pinau. Back for Cote. Cote looking deep into the end zone, too far for Julie Boisvert.
And that disc, unfortunately, just never had a chance. It's just too low of a huck. And his cutters, like, he's throwing too low and too fast of a huck, and it's not giving his receivers any time to actually run onto the disc.
Everybody bundled up here at Gigi's Field, because it's only about 8 or 9 degrees right now, expecting a low this evening of just 6. So the autumn has arrived here in the nation's capital. Elliott fakes the huck downfield, dishes off for Brian Perry, back into the middle for Travis Davidson. Davidson moves that up. Little flick there by Partridge down into the end zone. Great catch by Rachel Young, and Bearsharks will take over and pick up where they left off after that first half.
Here we just see Brian Perry with an easy flick to Travis. Travis just flips it up the field, and then Simon Partridge just uncorks a flick. Honestly, this throw could have gone to either player. You got Rachel Young, who made it the catch, but you got Laura Knowles in the background wide open for what could have been the exact same score.
Rachel Young with her first goal to go along with the 3 assists that she notched in that opening half. And it's now 9-5, a 4-goal advantage now opened up by the Bearsharks against this Gatineau 7 side.
And especially the Bearsharks taking 4 of the last 5 points has obviously been a very big swing. Even though they have such low numbers, they only have 10 people on their team, they've been actually ramping up the pressure and the intensity, and the Gatineau 7s club still seems a little flat, like when they came out in that first half.
They have an opportunity to go on offense and start to chip away at this lead, but they're going to have to get some better, certainly much tighter defensive play here in the second half if they want to create the turnovers, get the disc back, and start chipping away at this lead. Barber. Little dish off there for Philippe Lefebvre. Back for Andrew Barber. Barber being marked by Elliott, flips that through for number 51, Valerie Tanguay. Back for Barber. Barber. Lefebvre. Far side for Cote. Cote. Back for Barber, or back for Lefebvre. Back to Cote. Alzarani. Inside for Barber. Gatineau 7 moving the disc upfield methodically.
So you'll see here, Dan, the white team here, the Bearsharks, are really playing kind of a loose defense. As you'll see, they're not really covering the handlers a whole lot. And it's resulting in a lot of good movement out of Gatineau 7s. And then we have a throwaway there from Martial, who doesn't see Simon Partridge coming in from the back, getting a good poach D there from Simon.
Partridge for Elliott. Taps the disc down in play. Moves it back for Partridge. Now Partridge going downfield too far for Laura Knowles.
And Laura Knowles is really a favorite deep target of theirs. She's such a speedy receiver, and that's basically her game, is that she will go and she will blow by her opponent and get that open on that deep, but they can't seem to find the range on her yet. They've been having some difficulties hitting her on those deeps.
Alzarani had to slide in to make that grab. Moves that up for Tanguay. Valerie Tanguay. Little forehand flip into the end zone, and Barber has it for the point.
And that's Andrew Barber taking it over his summer teammate there, Amos Lee. They both played on Shrike Ultimate this summer. And Amos just kind of has his back turned. We look at this clip, so it's Khalid, and then he throws it there, and then we have a beautiful shot right down the line. And Amos just right over his head, and he's just in a bad spot to be able to make any play. Laura Knowles actually almost gets a hand on it over Barber's shoulder, but Barber just stays strong in his position and takes the disc.
So the opening point for the Gatineau 7 here in the second half gets them back within 3. But now the offense, a rather potent offense for the Bearsharks, gets to take over. 165 goals for, 118 against for a plus-minus of 47. They finished second in their division on Wednesday nights behind GDD with an 8-4 record. GDD 11-0, and they didn't make it into the final.
Yeah, the Bearsharks are able to really turn it on when they need to, and they're able to pull out some really tight games. So even though they may have lost some games over the course of the season, when it came to playoffs, they really put everything they had on the field, and because of that, they were able to earn their way into this Godzilla game here in 2017.
And you look at the Gatineau 7s, they only had a plus-minus of 17. So their defense not nearly as good as the Bearsharks coming into this final.
No, and that's interesting, Dan, because overall, the Monday night tends to have a bit more of a drop-off between the top couple teams. So it's interesting that the Gatineau 7s weren't able to push more of an advantage there in terms of plus-minus. So it's interesting to note that coming into this game, the Bearsharks actually have a large plus-minus advantage from their league compared to the Monday Night League.
And that one thrown away, so it will result in a turnover for the Gatineau 7. They'll get it back and attempt to chip away at this lead.
So in that case, like Brian Perry, he's a very high-risk, high-reward player. He will look for those shots a lot, and when they're not there, sometimes he will try and force them. So we'll have to see what Gatineau 7s does here to respond.
Karine Pinal looks downfield. They move the disc up. Ryan Katz-Rosen for Valerie Chiasson. Chiasson turns it over. Alexandra Ostojic to the outside for Samantha Lee. Samantha Lee inside for Rachel Young. Rachel Young along the sidelines. Back out for Brian Perry. Perry drops it off for Elliott. As Ostojic breaking, she comes up with the disc. Has to go up for it. Very close marking there. McCardle drops it off for Ostojic. Ostojic over the top. McCardle can't come up with it. Loses his lid and the disc too.
That's just an unfortunate turnover there. It kind of just pops right over his head, but we'll have to see because he's right on the mark. He doesn't exactly have time to kind of sit and wallow in that. He has to come out and play some hot defense in the bail.
Cote
as we see here on the replay. Oh, so she has lots of time and space, and she just sort of chips it right over McArdle. And it's unfortunate for him because he can't have a good play on that disc, and it ends up being a turnover.
Yannick Boulet for Cote. Cote moves it back for Simon Jonf. Out for Ryan Katz-Roseanne. Davidson right on him. Little flip for Pinal. Karine Pinal. Through for Boulet. Boulet 10 yards out. The hammer over the top. And it's complete for the point. Simon Jonf comes up with it. And the Gatineau 7 back within a couple.
So on that play there, I think it's a little bit of leg. So we see a great hammer come from, so Karine throws it up here to Yannick Boulet, and he throws a great hammer. And if we look, Brian Perry here on defense actually has a chance to really get in there and make a play on this D, but he kind of slows down, and then he doesn't bid for that disc, which kind of gives his defender that extra advantage, and he's able to take it and just go right into the end zone for a fairly easy score on what could have been a really great and back-breaking moment if Brian Perry had gotten that D.
Now it's 9-7, so the complexion of this one changes with every point that the Gatineau 7 get closer to the Bearsharks.
That's right, Dan, especially because we're starting to see a little bit on defense, that loosening up of the Bearsharks. They're starting to poach a little bit more, which means that they're getting tired out there. And of course, with only 10 players, it makes it tough once you start to kind of once your energy as a team starts to go down, it's really tough to keep it up because you don't have that many players to kind of bolster you and to give you that energy back from the sideline.
We talked about that earlier, just how much of a factor fitness would be in this one with just 2 subs available, or make that 3 subs available on the Bearsharks bench. Right now, it's Alex McArdle, Samantha Lee, and Travis Davidson not on the field.
And that's unfortunate, Dan, because Travis Davidson is one of their more athletic and one of their more fit players, and you kind of want him on the field as much as he can, because not only does it get him on the field, and he's a very good receiver, but it keeps the rest of your team a little bit fresher for that.
And there's another error. Pass too far for Partridge from Amos Lee. And a foul coming all the way back, so it looks like the Bearsharks are going to get a reprieve from that error.
So we see Cedric Lebreche here on the mark. Amos Lee's really showing what he wants. I'm not sure what the call was there and why Amos kept the disc, because I didn't see any contact, Dan, on that play, but it came back and it looks like it was an uncontested foul.
Rachel Young. Back for Amos Lee. Lee for Simon Partridge. Partridge has Laura Knowles breaking. Doesn't elect to go that route. Back for Rachel Young. Young for Amos Lee. Lee. Nice play for Ostojic. Ostojic flips that back for Brian Perry. Perry looking deep. Oh, picked off there by Al-Zarawi.
And in that case...
And turns it over immediately.
Yeah, and that's just sloppy play on both sides. Brian Perry had a bail wide open, and he forced a throw that was too low into coverage, and then Khalid, kind of to return the favor, he picks off the disc, and then he throws it right back to the defender.
Perry at the goal line for Ostojic. Little flip through, and Rachel Young has her 2nd goal of the game, her 5th point, and the lead back to 3 for the Bearsharks.
And it's great movement from the Bearsharks, and it's good that they came out with that, but it's really tight throws that they're getting away with. We see here Brian has the disc, and he's looking, and he throws. This is the turnover. I'm mistaken. But then Khalid hands it right back by throwing it too wildly just to Karen. She has a hard time there. And then, of course, that's the Bearsharks there making them pay for the mistake, even though Gatineau 7's was tight on both those throws. So it's a good indicator, Dan, for the rest of the game that they're tight on those throws. We'll have to see if they're able to take that extra step and make that D maybe next time.
10-7. The Bearsharks in front in what has been a really fast-paced Monday-Wednesday final.
Yeah, and it's nice to see games like this that are fast-paced. The only downside to that is that we don't get to see more frisbee. Although on a cold night such as tonight, I'm sure the fans will be okay with a very quick Godzilla.
There'll be a lot of people rethinking their wardrobes tonight as it's getting very, very close to Long John season. LaBelle for Matthew Carpentier. Carpentier in for Yannick Boulay. Back for Katz-Rouzan. Ryan Katz-Rouzan looking deep into the end zone. Easy pick in there for Alex McCardle. Looking a little different now without the lid. Partridge all the way down for Elliott. Oh, easy catch for Elliott into the end zone. And it's now 11-7 Bearsharks.
And the Bearsharks have kind of held them off a little bit. The Gatineau Sevens have really held them back a little bit here, but we see the Bearsharks scoring pretty easy on this. Simon Partridge unmarked, just throws a lazy flick, and Adam Elliott just basically gives Fred Cote no chance to make that disc because it's coming in. He shields the disc well there, and he goes in. And Adam's been off the scoreboard for the last couple Bearshark goals, but this one, of course, he's right back in there.
His fifth of the game, 4 in the first half alone.
And we see him here having a well-deserved break, coming off to be one of the 3 subs on the sidelines for the Bearsharks.
The 3 subs now, Partridge, Elliott, and Rachel Young, 3 of the most important players on this Bearshark side.
Yes, even you said before that, that during the finals, your best players have to be your best players. But in this case, I think they also need to keep them rested so that they can go out there and continue to be your best players going forward.
Still 4 points away from a Godzilla championship. Leading 11-7, the Gatineau 7. Picking up Barber. Nice little flip up for Sonia LaBelle. Tanguay moves that up. Cedric Labrèche. Philippe Lefebvre gets the disc back. And a foul call.
It looks like it looks like a pick call on Khalid by Alex McCardle. And this is going to be a pretty easy chance here still for Phil Lefebvre, just because everybody's so open for him.
Lefebvre looks to dish off, forced back for Khalid Al-Zarani. Karine Pinard back for Lefebvre. Pinard. Al-Zarani. Al-Zarani deep, looking for Barber. He's not going to get it. Travis Davidson, the closest player to it. And Barber knew it was too far away, and he gave up on it.
And we have Khalid, who's not normally a thrower, but he puts up a pretty good flick. He's wide open here in the middle. He catches the disc, and he looks. He has all the time, and he throws a flick. And it's a testament to how much faster that Travis is in this matchup than Andrew Barber, that he actually still gains yards, even though the throw is still out of both of the players' ability to play on it.
Here's Amos Lee. Near side for Alexandra Ostojic. Oh, too hot for Brian Perry to handle. And it's another turnover for Gatineau 7. Pinard. Ostojic very close, Mark. Pinard. Inside, too high for Barber. Into the hands of Al-Zarani. Al-Zarani back for Pinard. Pinard into the end zone. Nobody's going to get that one. Amos Lee get a piece of that?
I believe he did. But even if he had not, I think Corinne makes a great play off the sideline, and then it gets to Khalid on a lucky tip from Barber, but then he turns and flips it to Corinne. And then I don't know that this throw would have landed. Like, this throw, it seems too fast. And I'm not sure that Andrew Barber could have made a play on that, even if Amos Lee doesn't actually go and get that deep.
Lee just missed it, and a timeout called by the Bearsharks, I believe. They just want to make sure that everybody has enough gas in the tank to go the rest of the distance here.
Looking at this game from the Bearsharks' perspective right now, they're up 11-7. They're just on a chance to get a break here. They have the disc, and they're going to play some offense. And this is kind of the crucial point in the game where you have the ability to, as the Bearsharks, start to let the Gatineau Sevens back into the game if you start to make these mistakes and have these long, drawn-out points that you don't score. Because they have such a short bench, they don't have the legs to come out and really re-up the intensity or the energy of this game. So they need to try and take advantage on offense as much as they can and be as clean, as efficient as they can so they can get off the field.
They led 8-5 at the half, their largest lead of the opening half, and they've opened it up to a 4-point advantage here in this second half.
So we'll see. It looks like they're setting up in a very deep horizontal. Probably look for number 72, Laura Knowles, to be inactive here. Just because she's in that 2 spot, she's in a really good spot to kind of make a move, and look to see Travis Davidson come across towards the bottom of your screen as soon as she moves.
Adam Elliott with 5 goals. Travis Davidson with a single. Ostojic with a single. Rachel Young with a pair, as Samantha Lee has 2 as well for the Bearsharks as they turn it over about 14 yards away from their own goal line. Barber along the goal line. Amos Lee intervenes there and gets the turnover for the Bearsharks. Lee all the way down the field, and a good defensive play. Number 47, Karine Pinard, there all the way as Amos Lee was looking for Ostojic deep.
And this is turning into a bit of a sloppy game. You have Ryan Katzerzin, who's looking up the field. He doesn't see defenders on these poaches, which is critical against the Bearsharks. They're a team that loves to poach, and they want to get in there and get that D from a spot you don't see them coming. But then, of course, the Bearsharks take it, and Amos Lee just hucks it right back to the defense. So it'll be interesting to see who comes away with this point and which team it ends up hurting.
Lefebvre deep for Al-Zarani. He's got it.
And McCardle can do nothing there but just watch Khalid, who's even too tired to spike it after that great point. Just watch Khalid run into the end zone and catch that disc, because he doesn't have a good spot to play D here, because it's such a great break from Phil Lefebvre. Because Andrew Barber throws that break, he works the field, and he throws on the side that McCardle doesn't have positioning, and he doesn't have the speed to make it up.
Al-Zarani's 3rd goal of the game for the Gatineau 7. And that was a big one. Trailing by 4, they needed to score on that possession after the Bearsharks had turned it over twice.
If I was to be drawing up a game plan right now as the Gatineau Sevens on my clipboard, I'd be saying we need to find more ways to get Khalid Al-Zarani cutting on the deep. He's a lot faster. He's a really tough speed matchup for a lot of the players on this Bearsharks team, especially having played to this point 19 points of this game. You need to find ways to get him moving and to get him deep, because they have a lot of players who have the throws to get that disc down there. They just need to have him as an option.
11-8. The Bearsharks are preparing to get the disc back. There's the pull. In play. Stopped by Elliott. Up for Partridge. Partridge for Laura Knowles. Samantha Lee. Little flip for Rachel Young. Rachel Young back into the middle for Davidson. Davidson up for Partridge. Partridge had Elliott moving, but they elect to go the other way, and that's broken up by Matthew Carpentier.
So we see the player in white there, Adam Elliott, arguing that Matthew set a pivot when he caught the disc in the end zone, so he's not allowed to move up, but the observers didn't see anything wrong there, so they just let the play happen as it goes.
Yannick Boulet. Little flick for Pinard. Karine Pinard. Make that Valerie Chiasson. Nice grab there. Julie Boisvert. Julie Boisvert. Rachel Young Marking her closely. Here's Chiasson with a Stoyage. Marking her. Here's Boulay. Boulay tried to go over the top with the hammer, and a nice catch there by Boisvert, with Rachel Young right there making an attempt at it. Carpentier. Carpentier getting close to the 10-second stall count. Moves that out in a foul call.
Looks like the disc is staying, so I think it was a pick upfield. It's a very cluttered stack, but it looks like... Oh, and we have a great break, and for the score. So that was Ryan Katz-Rosen to Carpentier, and then in for the score. It was a great fluid play, and they used the break side a lot there. And that's one thing that they need to exploit, I think, a little bit more, Dan, against the Bearsharks, because they're such a poachy defense. They're really giving up a lot of space on the break side to cheat, to take away the force side. So we'll have to see if they can use that going forward.
Sonia LaBelle with her first marker here in this Monday-Wednesday final from Carpentier, his first assist. And again, the Gatineau 7 continue to chip away at the lead. They get it back to 2 goals. They had it to 2 goals, let it slip to 4, and now they've chipped away once again with a 2-goal run of their own.
So as much as they were down, I think we're getting to that point where, you know, Pierre Maguire would call it the TSN turning point, but I think we're getting to that critical point in the game where Bearsharks needs to show that they're either going to win this game or they're going to lose it. Because they're starting, again, to show the legs a little bit. They're starting to not have quite as much intensity in the defense. But at 11-9, you're really at a really critical part of the game where if Gatineau 7s start their comeback now, they have a lot of points to work with, and they could probably take it maybe even 15-12, 15-13.
Andrew Barber with the pull after the point. And a good pull as the wind has almost completely subsided here at GG's Field. Elliott. Adam Elliott flips that one. Travis Davidson has to go up for it. And here's a little flick. McCardle can't hang on. Laid out for it, but just unable to grab the disc as it sailed beyond his outstretched left hand. Good defense there by Alexandra Ostojic. And back they come. Elliott looking as the disc dropped suddenly. Here's Rachel Young. Rachel Young with it. 5 yards out. Looking for some help. Getting to the end of the stall count. Moves it back for Ostojic. Ostojic now. Looking to make a play. Nice play there by Davidson to hang on to it. Elliott looking for Davidson. He throws it away.
In that case, that's actually really good defense there by Cedric Labreche. He's really able to keep Travis on the right side of him. And we actually see, it looks like he got injured on that play. He's swapping out, and Khalid Alzirani will be coming into play for him. Here's the replay here. So we see Cedric had made a great play on that. And then he really does a good job of keeping Travis on the inside here. And then him and Adam Elliott are out of sync. And Cedric could get the credit for the DM.
Didn't look like he collided with anybody.
I believe it was on the play that he, just at the start of that replay, he kind of laid out. And he came around Travis, and he might have landed awkwardly on that play.
Alzirani moves it up. Chiasson. And another injury, and I think that is Tanguay that slipped.
We've seen this before in some of the Godzilla games. When it starts to get a little bit later, players start to be a little bit more beat up. They start to have these little injuries a little bit more. So we'll have to see how Gatineau 7s, and especially how the Bearsharks, are going to deal with players that are going to start to feel a little bit more of an injury when they get in these plays here.
Chiasson looking deep. Nowhere near Andrew Barber, the intended target, and another turnover.
So we'll have to see here. Brian Perry, I actually thought he might have called a timeout there just because this has been such a long point for the Bearsharks.
And there's a big bad turnover by Perry. And the Gatineau 7 looking to convert this one. Martial DeRosier. DeRosier into the end zone for Barber. And the Gatineau 7 back within 1.
the French connection strikes again there. These two guys played on the Shrike O-line all summer, so they've been playing together a lot longer than that. They really have a good connection, and they know that each player wants to go break side. Martial does a really good job. He's got lots of time here. He's very patient, doesn't force anything, and then he just steps out and throws right around Adam Elliott's mark.
A 3-goal run by the Gatineau 7 to get back within a single point here in this 2017 Godzilla final.
So here we see Andrew Barber with that receiver glove on his right hand. So he's actually left-handed. So he goes with the much grippier receiver glove rather than the ultimate Frisbee gloves that most people wear. Because it gives him that extra grab, especially on a night like tonight. It's a little bit cold. It's nice to have that padding on the hand, but he wants to keep his throwing hand free for touch throws, so he wears it only in the right hand.
Touch, just such an integral part of throwing the disc. You can throw it hard, looking for somebody to make a catch, throwing it 35 yards and knowing where it's going to drop is another thing, but it's difficult to do with your hand shrouded.
It really is, and it takes a lot of practice to get used to throwing with gloves. I know guys that just go out to parks and just, without even a person, they'll just throw discs at a tree and just to get used to throwing with gloves on. In Barber's case, especially because he likes to throw a lot of breaks, so he likes to throw to the break side where it's a lot nicer if you could put some touch and some float so that your guys can go there. So it's really important for him to be able to maintain that through the game, and especially with the cold weather.
Colder weather, this the culmination of the Ottawa Carleton Ultimate Association 2017 season. Starts early, ends kind of early too.
Yeah, unfortunately we don't here in Ottawa enjoy quite the long summer season as some of the other big cities that participate in Ultimate Frisbee, so it's really tough. We only get to start in sort of, say, like around Mother's Day, and then we, generally speaking, finish around now. We had Canadian Nationals here in Ottawa only a couple weeks ago.
And what a spectacular show that was.
Yes, and I heard that the final was really well done by the play-by-play guy.
Oh, well, I'm not sure about that, but thanks. The Bearsharks starting out.
Oh, we got an
Offside.
a late offside call. That's interesting because generally speaking, the observers will step in and rule it right away. There's a little bit of a late call here from Jim Robinson and Sandra Hansen. I believe this is their second offsides. We'll have to see if there's a yardage penalty associated with this one or not.
Second offside on this pull.
The second offside for the game. So in the game, so it looks like it was their first. It must have been the Bearsharks earlier that were offsides. If you're offsides the first time, luckily it's only a warning and you have to re-pull. The second time, though, you'll end up pulling from the reverse brick mark in your own end zone. So you'll be pulling from 18 yards inside your own end zone. Oh. And it really hamstrings your ability to get the disc down the field on a good pull.
And a good pull that will start the Bearsharks out 20 yards from their goal line. Amos Lee, Lauren Knowles, and a foul by Sonia LaBelle.
So interesting to note about this game, Dan, is that the contact rule is not in effect. So anything that is a foul against the player with the disc has to be called a foul and has to stop play. There's no easy reset of the stall count.
Bad turnover by the Bearsharks. Rachel Young just unable to handle that tough flick from Laura Knowles. And Cote picks up the disc for the Gatineau 7, looking to tie things up. Cote, his pass sails a little into the arms of Julie Boisvert. She drops it off and a foul called against.
So that's actually, luckily for the Gatineau 7s, that one was just a pick. So Amos Lee showing, oh wow.
Great layout there by Cote to keep the disc alive. Cote with the flick into the end zone. And Karine Pinard ties things up for the Gatineau 7.
Yeah, luckily for Ryan, it was a pick there, so he gets to keep the disc, but Amos Lee gets to catch up on defense. And then we see just an absolutely phenomenal layout here, right here. Great catch, trailing edge and everything, and he just makes it look real easy because all of a sudden he's got a wide open cutter for a flip.
4 goals in a row by the Gatineau 7, and we're deadlocked at 11. Who'd have thunk it?
Yeah, there's a couple points in this game where Bearsharks really looked like they had like they were in the driver's seat, and it looked like Gatineau 7s were just along for the ride. But we kind of talked a couple points ago that the Bearsharks looked like they were getting to that point where they have to either decide to win this game or to lose it. And it looks like they're still a little unsure. They still have time. This game is far from over. But they look like they're wavering just a little bit from what they were at the start of this game.
They led 11-7 at one point. Now the Gatineau 7 have come back to tie things up. And boy, do we ever have a different championship final here now. Both teams 4 points away from a Godzilla championship. Andrew Barber, good pull. Taking Elliott back inside his own end zone for Amos Lee. Amos Lee now. And a foul called. Looks like Cedric Lebreche is back out there after being hurt about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, it's good to see him back out there. He's a battler for sure. He's a guy that puts the team first, and he puts everything on the line for the team. So he's willing to do what's best for the team, and they want him back out there, then he'll get back out there.
Amos Lee going deep once again. And the grab is made by Elliott into the end zone. Laura Knowles, yes! 12-11 Bearsharks as they finally get off the schneid and score a goal.
And then Laura Knowles immediately warming up her hands. So we see Amos Lee, a bit of a questionable huck here, but we look and it's just honestly the height. The height of Adam Elliott and Travis combined just really overshadows Martial in that play. And then because the defense kind of stops to play that jump ball, they're not there to help guard against Laura Knowles for the shot in the end zone.
12-11, and that's breaks the streak of 4 consecutive goals by the Gatineau 7, and that's gotta sort of allow the Bearsharks to breathe a bit of a sigh of relief and wipe the sweat from their collective brow.
Exactly, Dan, because at this point, especially with the low numbers, their team is really looking for momentum in terms of like the way that the game is going, and they're really looking for momentum to help them with their energy levels. And when you're out there getting scored on, you get broken 3 times in a row, sometimes it's hard to go out there and take that 4th point. And they did a really good job to just go out there and get that one, and now they can hopefully use that and ride that into a big defensive possession.
Good pull. Takes Ryan Katz-Rosen back into his own end zone. Here's Yannick Boulet. Boulet inside for Simon Jonf. Jonf, nice little play for Karine Pinal. Ryan Katz-Rosen, and another foul call.
We'll have to see if this one goes back. Okay, it looks like it did affect the play. We have some of the players here on the Bearsharks reasoning with the Gatineau 7s, and nobody seems to be too angry, so it looks like it was a valid call.
Samantha Lee marking Karine Pinal. Pinal hits that for Ryan Katz-Rosen, looking for the huck downfield. Julie Boisvert has it. We're tied again at 12.
That's just a great play. Ryan, eyes down the field the whole time. He knows what he's looking for, and he knows what his mark's going to... He has Travis on the wrong side, so he's got a free break huck, and he takes full advantage of it, airing it out for Julie Boisvert. She's so tough to cover, and especially on that break side, if you don't have good position on her, she's going to go get the disc on you.
The scoring has been spread out among the Gatineau 7s. Julie Boisvert with a single, Yannick Boulet with a single. Simon Jonf with a single. Andrew Barber with 2. Karine Pinard with 2. Valerie Chiasson with a single. And Khalid El-Zerani with 3.
And it's really a testament to this Gatineau Sevens team being able to play together as a team, because they're not, it's not like they're just sort of keying in on one player on offense. They're trying to use everybody. And when you're playing with 7 players instead of trying to hit the same 2 or 3 main players, it really opens up the field and opens up your options, and it's a much more consistent and repeatable offense because you're not just looking for these one-off plays.
Here's the pull, as we've got a bit of a nail-biter here at GG's Field. Dan Mooney alongside Corey Boucher and our entire Rogers TV crew. So pleased to have you along for the ride for this Monday-Wednesday championship at the 2007 Godzillas, emblematic of OCUA, which is OCUA, the Ottawa Carleton Ultimate Association supremacy, and another huck downfield. There's the jump ball. Elliott comes up with it, drops it off for Partridge. Partridge into the end zone looking for Elliott again, and he comes up with it again. 13-12 Bearsharks.
And Adam Elliott coming up big there for both of them. They might have to lean on him a little bit heavier down this end. So we see the first, again, Amos Lee, a little bit of a questionable huck. He puts a lot of air on this, and he gives a lot of chance, but Adam Elliott just goes up and over the shorter Khalid El-Zerani. He flips it to Simon Partridge, who immediately puts it right back to him for that vertical space. And he takes it there. Khalid never has a chance, and Adam Elliott makes them pay for it.
Elliott's 6th goal of the game from Simon Partridge, his 3rd assist, and the Bearsharks lead 13-12. A half an hour left on the clock in a 105-minute hard cap.
And that's really, we're now over an hour into the game, and you're starting to see this is where the Bearsharks need to keep the foot on the gas pedal here. Excuse me. They need to keep the pressure up because they can't just keep trading offensive points here if they want to win this game.
That stays in play, and the disc comes to Karine Pinard for Yannick Boulet. Boulet inside, Simon Jonf. Jonf back to the outside for Valerie Chiasson. Chiasson flips that out for Boulet. Boulet back inside for Jonf. And they keep moving the disc, playing that triangle very, very well. There's a throw to the sideline, kept alive by Chiasson. Chiasson forced back. Matthew Carpentier. Carpentier inside. Pinard for Ryan Katz-Rosen. Rosen, little flick for Boulet. Boy, Gatineau 7 moving the disc beautifully into the end zone for Carpentier.
What we just saw there, Dan, was just an absolute clinic on offense by the Gatineau Sevens. They just keep punishing hard. They keep they keep this grinding up offense because they keep wanting to work through and get those unders. And we see the Bearsharks playing a little bit behind them, not wanting to give it the big shots, but it allows them to keep churning, keep getting those unders, and they keep moving the defense to the point where they can score like that.
13-13. As Matthew Carpentier ties things up again. We could be going to Universe Point here.
We could, and for those of you who are just tuning in, Universe Point is where it's essentially road hockey rules from back in the day, Dan. It's the next goal wins.
That's it. And that happens if these two teams get to 14 apiece.
Yeah, the games are at 15, which is the hard cap. There is no 17, as is in some competitions. And with 27 minutes and 50 seconds left to go in a 13-13 game, I'm thinking we'll see the point cap, Dan, before we see the time.
Want to put any money on that?
I don't think so, because of course, as soon as I say it, it's going to go the distance for the time.
The kiss of death.
Yeah. The sportscaster jinx.
Good pull. Elliott for Amos Lee, up for Simon Partridge. Ado Stojic elected not to get her the disc, and it looks as if they're looking downfield for another huck for Elliott. Little flip over the top. Elliott goes up, can't come up with a disc, and that could be a big turnover.
bit of an ill-advised throw there, Dan. Just kind of tried to force it. He didn't really look at his bails. He just looked upfield the whole time and had to take a bit of a gamble to see if he could keep possession.
Al-Zerani for Barber. The Gatineau 7 looking to score. There's a shot inside. Good catch there by Martial Desrosiers. Desrosiers at the goal line for Lefebvre to Barber. Barber looking to the other side. Little flip back for Lefebvre into the end zone, and the catch is made by Sonia LaBelle. And the Gatineau 7 have come back to take the lead for the first time since the opening goal in this Godzilla championship.
Wouldn't that be quite the bookend, eh, Dan? So Barber here, he looks, and it's just really bad defense by Adam Elliott. He's trying to take away the lane, and then he comes in, but he can't put a real mark on, and it just allows the Gatineau 7 to score easily and just keeps the rest of his team out of position.
Boy, that turnover big by the Bearsharks, and the fact that the short bench is hurting them right now. Just 3 substitutions available to them, and with 7 players on the field at any given time, they're just running out of gas.
And you can even see from the shot with the huddles here, Dan, like the white huddle just looks so much smaller than the red one. They're still up. Like you can tell from the body language that they don't believe that they're out of it, and I don't think that they are either. But they essentially have their backs up against the wall. They got to score 2 in a row here, and they need to do it. I mean, they have lots of time to do it in, but I think they need to do it quickly, because the longer that they stay on the field, the more that the advantage goes to the Gatineau 7s, because they're going to have a fresh 7 coming back on for Universe Point if we get that far.
Well, the Bearsharks need a goal here to tie things up and send this one to a Universe Point. And really, Corey Boucher, you can't ask for a better final.
No, you can't, and it would be a lovely way for both these teams to cap off their seasons with a great Universe Point game that comes for Godzilla, because this is basically the playoffs. This is the way that you kind of end your season. It's the last memory that you'll have and the last thing that you'll remember for the whole winter. So we'll have to see how it goes here.
People stomping their feet here at GG's Field. I don't know whether it's to rally their team or to stay warm.
We'll have to see if it works, regardless.
Here's Ostojic. Alexandra Ostojic for Brian Perry. Kept the disc alive by staying in bounds. Now Perry looking for an outlet, finds Rachel Young. Rachel Young, little flick. Amos Lee got some help there, and he was able to grab the disc out of the hand of his mark. That was Ryan Katz-Rosen. Here's Elliott. Elliott, and a
pick called out of the stack. The play is going to go back to Adam, and then defender gets to catch up in the middle. It's Julie Boisvert and Rachel Young. Probably a pair to watch here in the end zone.
Play inside for Davidson. Travis Davidson has the disc. Little flick. Inside Perry looking to the end zone. Elliott's got it. We're going to Universe Point.
It's going to be a Universe Point. This is an exciting moment, because this is a game that both of these teams have shown themselves quite capable of taking. And we'll see here on the replay, Travis gets a great cut out of Brian, wide open. And then, of course, the easiest throw, the throw to the open side, Adam Elliott, wide open.
So we're going to have a Universe Point here. Last goal wins. This is ball hockey, kids. Like you mentioned, Corey Boucher, Universe Point. Next goal wins. Now there's some discussion as to whether or not the Universe Point rule is in effect.
We have our...
The determination is, we'll see.
Yeah. There's nothing more suspenseful than that, folks, with the we'll see call. We have our executive director who will be briefing us in just a moment, and we'll find out here what's going to happen. We still have 22 minutes left in the time slot, so there is lots of time to play, with a maximum of going to 17, potentially. As of right now, we're going to treat this like it's Universe Point.
We're not sure, but it's been a tremendous game. Barber now for the Gatineau 7. Philippe Lefebvre back for Andrew Barber. Barber. Khalid Al-Zarani took that one away from McCardle. Nice play to keep it alive by Julie Boisvert.
So that's one chance there, Dan, that they really had to get a D there, especially on like a point that's potentially a universe point for Alex McCardle. And he doesn't leave his feet. He doesn't pull that trigger and make a layout. And potentially that could be the big moment at this point, because we see a big huck coming out here.
And a defensive play there by Alex McCardle. And that gives the disc back to the Bearsharks.
Of course, the old sportscaster curse. As soon as I say it, it happens right back. So McCardle earns his D back anyways.
And more importantly for the Bearsharks, they get the disc back on offense. Here's Elliott for Davidson. Davidson looks one way, comes back the other way for Laura Knowles. Knowles to the outside. Here's Rachel Young. Rachel Young with it. Nice play up for McCardle. McCardle looking deep into the end zone. Davidson has it.
That's a goal.
And it's over.
Well, that's a great try on that defense. He has a tip that actually goes right into the end zone, as we'll see in the replay here in a minute.
No, it's not.
And it appears to not be over. So McCardle just has a great up the line. He's got wide open. He loves that backhand. And it actually turns out that the tip from Phil Lefebvre actually goes right to Travis Davidson. So it worked out in the offense's favor there. So we've just been informed that this game will go to 17. So that means it's a hard cap at 17. So the first team to 17 will win the game.
So this thing continues with the Bearsharks. Davidson with his second goal of the game makes it 15-14. And apologies, folks, we were not informed as to how this one was going to end. But the bonus is we've got more ultimate.
Especially with two teams like this, they've been really giving us a good game, really exciting game to watch. So I think the fans here will be okay with seeing a few more points.
Goulet. Deep toss for Boisvert. She's got it 5 yards away.
So there's been a foul on the play. It looks like Adam Elliott got fouled going into the throw. Adam Elliott, of course, being on defense here. So it's an interesting call that he got fouled on that big huck. It has come back, and Travis Davidson is now subbing on for Adam. It does not appear to be a contest.
And we'll have to wait. We're going to see more of this as this one goes on. There's 18 minutes left. But we're not sure whether the hard cap will apply anymore. Great defensive play there by McCardle as he laid out to bat the disc away from Simon Jonf.
Of course, Alex McCardle, a PEI native, also played on strike this year. He resembles Mark Lloyd in beard only, but he makes a great play there to keep the play alive, especially with such a crucial game here.
He resembles Mark Lloyd in beard only. Big pull downfield. He's got it!
They're calling him not in.
At the goal line, Davidson into the end zone for Partridge. And there is 16-14.
And that is the game, folks. It's a win by 2 after that. And now we're here at 16-14, and the Bearsharks have won Godzilla 2017. We see a great run here from Travis, from a great throw, and it's just a matter of he gets back and the defense can't catch up, and Simon Partridge just waltzes in for the game.
Partridge gets his first goal of the game, and it turns out to be the winner. Your players of the game, I'd have to think for the Bearsharks, you have to look seriously at Adam Elliott, 7 goals and an assist.
For me, it's Adam Elliott. He played a great game. He drove a lot of their offense, and as you pointed out, like he was all over the stat sheet. It's really hard to pick anybody who outperformed him, and he is very often the energy and emotional core of that team. So he was able to drive them in ways sort of on and off the field.
And for the Gatineau 7.
For the Gatineau 7, I would have to pick, it's kind of a split. Khalid Al-Zarani played a great game. He really made an impact when he was out there as a cutter, and he had a lot of really easy scores on his deeps. The other player that I would pick would be Andrew Barber. He's a very shifty handler, and he had a lot of touches for the Gatineau 7s. He actually got into the scoring a little bit too on a couple deep shots, so it ended up being pretty good in that regard, and he was sort of all over the field for them.
A 16-14 win for the Bearsharks over the Gatineau 7s in the Monday-Wednesday championship of the 2017 Godzilla here at GG Field on the campus of the University of Ottawa. A great final and a great season here for the Ottawa-Carleton Ultimate Association. For Corey Boucher and our entire Rogers TV crew, I'm Dan Mooney. Thanks so much for the company so long from GG's Field.
Pizza, proud supporter of local sports. Gabriel Pizza, home of the bigger, better pizza. 310-7777 or GabrielPizza.com.